Hey guys, welcome back to J&M Sports Talk for our Week 5 recap. Hard to
Yep.
believe.
Yep. We're just moving right along. This season's coming by too fast. It always goes too fast, though.
It does. It
Yeah.
does. Well, let's get to our big three for
All
the
right.
week, Jonathan. So why don't you start us out? Who impressed you
You know
Week
what?
5?
This one may be a shot off the radar for some, but I'm gonna say Arkansas. They almost beat Texas A&M this weekend. Yeah, and they're improving each week. A lot of teams would have just hung it up after those first 2 weeks. So I'm really impressed. They're sticking with Morris. They're continuing to get better each week, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They're playing great defense. It's just they got to get that offense better. And maybe they found something this week against Texas A&M. We'll find out moving forward. But I'm gonna say the Hogs definitely impressed this week in the improving and not giving up. But another one is Kentucky. We've talked about them the last few weeks. We've been high on them. They've been playing good ball, but I thought now that they've got a team like South Carolina where they're going to be the favorite, how are they going to handle it? And Benny Snell took over that game. The spotlight was not too big for them, and that's what impressed me. This Kentucky team might be for real. There's always already thoughts that maybe them being ranked 13 this week, they're being underrated still. So this could be a top 10 team, especially if they keep playing like this. I'm impressed.
Yeah, for sure. Snell, still a
Hmm.
Heisman Trophy
For
candidate,
sure.
really.
Hmm.
For me, Clemson Tigers. Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute, didn't they almost lose?
Yeah.
You would be correct. For the second straight year, they had a close scare with Syracuse.
Hmm.
Last year, it's funny, Kelly Bryant got hurt early in that one, and they ended up losing that game.
Yeah.
It looked like the same narrative this
Hmm.
week. Trevor Lawrence gets the start, and he gets knocked out of the game with a concussion. Kelly Bryant had transferred earlier
Yeah.
in the week, so that proved to be a critical loss for the Clemson Tigers. But who I was impressed with had to be Chase Bryce, the
Hmm.
quarterback that stepped in there. He's a freshman guy. Didn't really make a lot of great plays down the
Hmm.
field. In fact, they struggled on offense. But really, in the fourth quarter, he made a critical third down conversion pass
Hmm.
that was a near perfect throw. He didn't throw a ball like that the entire game
Right.
until that moment. And then he had a critical QB power run to the right that really sealed the deal for them getting that touchdown and going on top and getting the victory. So I was impressed with
Hmm.
that. Also impressed with Notre Dame and their playoff hopes. Second straight week, Ian Book gets the start, and he just lights up that Stanford defense. Had
Right.
4 touchdown throws in that one, almost 300 yards. So that makes 7 touchdown passes over the last 2 weeks, Ian Book. So really impressed with Notre
Hmm.
Dame and getting that victory.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side, our disappointments
Hmm.
was the other side of that game for
Yeah.
me. Stanford Cardinal, really disappointed with them. That was a disappointment. That loss was a disappointment for the Pac-12 and their playoff hopes.
Yeah.
Washington had the loss to Auburn non-conference earlier in the year, and then they
Hmm.
have this loss. It's going to be a tough case for the Pac-12 to make against some of the other conferences. But
It will
just
be.
talking about Stanford and this, we thought Bryce Love was going to be a Heisman candidate.
Hmm.
He hasn't been a shell of what he was last year. He even got banged up late in
Yeah.
that game. So
Same ankle too.
same ankle, nagging ankle injury. So we'll see where they go from here.
Mhm. All right, so continuing disappointments. Yeah, I'm gonna stay in the SEC with disappointments as well. Mississippi State, they played a good defensive game, and they had their chances of winning the game. They're just disappointed they didn't get the win against Gators. That game meant so much to those players and some of the staff that stayed after Mullen left. That you just gotta be disappointed for them that they came up just a bit short in that game. But also, on the flip side too, Vanderbilt. They played it. We just talked about how great a game they played against Notre Dame. Could have beat them. How well Notre Dame's playing, and then they come home and they lay an egg against Tennessee State. It's just something that you just don't expect a good SEC team to do, and just wondering where their heads were after that loss against Notre Dame. But while we're on the subject, as we definitely want to send our thoughts and prayers out to Tennessee State player Christian Abercrombie. After a hit, he collapsed on the sidelines.
Yeah.
He's still in critical condition as we're taping our show tonight. So our thoughts, prayers with him and his family, and hopefully things can get better for him. Now moving on to who we thought they were, Mark. For me, it's got to be the West Virginia Mountaineers. They went into a hectic environment in Texas Tech, and the Red Raiders. They have all kind of madness down there, and they got a big W. And it was because Will Greer and Sills is just who we thought they were. They continue to be one of the best quarterback receiver tandems in the country. And they just showed it again, putting up big numbers against Texas Tech, who gave them a good game, too. It was a fun, entertaining game to watch.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we figured that one was going to be back and forth, and it did not
Right.
fail to deliver that.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's got to be Ohio State. They're in the same division with Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan State, and Michigan, all
Right.
in the same division. We predicted preseason that Ohio State would win that division, and winning this game was a huge part of that.
It
Penn
was.
State and Ohio State are at the top of that division, so really impressed with them and how they won. They were down by a couple scores. Dwayne Haskins, who he's probably one of my leaders as far as a Heisman candidate goes. And for him to throw 2 touchdown passes within the last 7 minutes of that game, I think that was a huge boost to his candidacy. And a great road victory for Ohio State. But, at the same time, Penn State, we'll talk more about this as the season goes on, but a 1-point loss to a great team early in the season like Ohio State, that doesn't remove them from playoff hopes. Alabama had something similar last year. So everything is within grasp for both of these teams, but Ohio State for sure is a legit team like we thought they were.
Yeah, for sure. As I say, now that we've talked about our big threes, let's get into talk about some of the bigger matchups of the weekend, Mark. Let's start off. What do you think of the Florida Mississippi State game?
Yeah, so if you like offensive football, this was not your game.
No.
But in all seriousness, Nick Fitzgerald, it comes to a huge shock to me. I know it's a new system, new offense, but I feel like they've tried to adapt a lot of the things that they did in years past. And they just have not come out. Mississippi State has not had as good of an offense as they have in years past.
Yeah, for sure. And to piggyback off that, I really thought, the success we've seen from Trace McSorley the last few years running the same offense, you thought this would be a perfect scenario for Nick Fitzgerald. The way he can run and throw, this was a great opportunity for him. And he's just struggling this year. That's really disappointing. But, you got to give credit to Florida just having the guts to go with that trick play to end up being the winning touchdown to call something like that in such a big game. So the props to the Gators for going into Starkville, silencing the cowbells, and getting a big win that they need. We're going to talk more later about the SEC East now has 2 or 3 teams that are legit contenders now. So
yeah, and one of the things about Florida's team versus last year's team and even years prior to that is their passing game. It's definitely improved. Felipe Franks, he didn't wow anybody last year. He did just enough to win the games that they did win. But this year, you can tell a difference. I mean, he was 22 of 31, I think, so he's gotten to be more accurate. Now, it hasn't necessarily kept drives going to have as great of an offensive output, but that is one thing about Florida's team.
And that's one thing, too. We got to keep in mind, it's still a very good Mississippi State defense he was doing that against, too. So the fact that it wasn't just the fact that he was doing it against a good defense now. So that's something that they can go on and improve. That they're gonna have more opportunities to prove themselves. They got LSU coming up soon, so
this week.
So moving on, let's keep going. How about Stanford Notre Dame? We talked about it a little bit already, but just any more thoughts you have on that game? Actually went.
Yeah, really, Stanford's defense has been a huge staple. Kind of early in this year, but really going back to last year. And that's the thing that they didn't have in this game against Notre Dame. It was relatively within reach until that Bryce Love injury in the fourth quarter. Really impressed with Notre Dame just being not just a one-dimensional team. With Ian Book at quarterback, they've got the passing game going, and then they've got the staple of running back. So really impressed with them.
It's not just one side of the ball they're playing either. Their defense is playing great ball as well.
Decent.
So Notre Dame, top to bottom, is a good team, and it's good to see. It's good for college football when they're good both sides of the ball. All right, so moving on, the big game of the week, Ohio State going into Happy Valley against Penn State. For those that didn't get to watch the game, it was something special to watch. Both these teams, I don't feel like there shouldn't have been a loser in this game. Unfortunately, Penn State used to losing by one, but Ohio State got that 14-13 lead, and then Penn State scores 13 unanswered points, and then Ohio State's like, all right, our turn, and they score 14 straight and end up winning the game with a point. You think maybe with a little more time, maybe Penn State makes a few plays different down the stretch on that last drive, that maybe they end up winning this game on the last drive. So it was great, just a great game, and I said there really isn't a loser in this game, even if it is Penn State.
Yeah, I already talked a little bit about it, but Trace McSorley, I mean, he had almost 500 yards of total offense.
Right.
175 on the ground.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a shame that he had to lose that game, that anybody had to lose that game, but shout out to both teams. It was certainly a great game to watch.
Yeah, I say I mentioned I was right in him running the ball on Ohio State though. Just running that out there. They had their
And Bo's up
opportunities.
being God. Yeah, you don't feel judgment, Jonathan, for getting the game wrong.
Yeah.
You did pick Ohio State, like me,
Yeah.
to win that division earlier in the season. So
Yeah. All right, guys. So thank you for your time. Hope you enjoyed the recap of Week 5, and stay tuned. We got our after show, and also we're gonna preview Week 6 coming up. So look out for those videos as well. Get you later.